Good morning, Mr. Singh. Mr.
Very good
Arjinder,
morning,
very good
all of
morning
you.
to you. Mr. Banerjee, good morning. Roshanjit, good morning. And Mr. Singla, very good morning to you. Mr. Singla, can I have your video on? If I could have a look at you. Yes. You're coming from which city? Mr. Singla?
Mohali, sir.
Yeah, very good morning. Which city?
Mohali, sir. Mohali.
Mohali. Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly. Yes, I can hear you very clearly.
Hello.
And which organization do you represent?
SML Isuzu Limited, sir. It is a automobile commercial vehicle.
Swaraj Mazda. Achha. Okay. Very nice.
Light
And
commercial
Mr.
vehicles.
Dr. Goel. Very, very warm welcome
Yes,
to you
sir.
and a very good morning to you. Dr. Goel, you are, very good morning. Can you unmute yourself for a minute? Just waiting for some more participants to join. I think we'll just start in a couple of minutes. Okay, so let us start. People, let them join in their own way. So a very, very good morning to all of you, and on a Sunday morning, you had come, and the program that we are going to just conduct is an extremely, extremely important program, and I believe that by the time the webinar ends, you should have got a lot of value. So again, wishing you a very good Sunday morning. I start the program. So let me straight go to the presentation. So making your business thrive in spite of Corona. So this is the topic of the webinar today. So let me start with my story a little bit. I am a mechanical engineer by education, and prior to founding this company, becoming a seminar leader, I had spent about 15 years in the industry and in senior positions. My specialist functional area had been sales and marketing, and I started my career as a management trainee with an engineering company, and then I rose up to the board of three companies, and it has been a roller coaster journey since then. Subsequently, I switched my profession, and this company, Dhruvsatya, was founded. And over the last 20 years, we have consulted with more than 500 organizations, impacting more than 6 lakh people in 5,000 talks and seminars throughout India and overseas. And so Dhruvsatya Center for Personal Transformation is a 20-year-old leading training and consulting company, headquartered in Kolkata with overseas operations in Bangladesh, Malaysia, Singapore, and of course in India. And these are some of the corporate clients whom we have served, and we are continuously serving. And over the last 20 years, apart from working with the institutions and organizations, we have had the good fortune of also working with the cricket teams, and especially I had the good fortune of working with the Cricket Association of Bengal 3 times, and some of the India cricketers who I mentored, especially with respect to the motivational part, Sourav Ganguly, Mohammad Shami, Riddhiman Shaha, Deep Dasgupta. These are some of the India footballers whom I mentored. I had the good fortune of becoming the motivational mentor of the East Bengal club, and along which time Mehtab Hussain, who was the India skipper, he was the captain of East Bengal club. Robin Singh is a current India player, and so is Gurpreet Singh, the #1 India goalkeeper. I also had the opportunity to coach some of the best Indian scientists on how to get a breakthrough. And I had worked with the scientists of Indian Institute of Chemical Biology, you would be aware, a leading scientific institution in Calcutta, which is currently also involved in discovering the vaccine for Corona. Apart from IICB, I have also been, I had also worked closely with Bose Institute. I also had the privilege of working and motivating with the under trials, the prison inmates of some of the leading correctional homes, and I also had the good fortune of also working with some of the sex workers. So these are two of my mentors. Tony Robbins, whom, if you are aware, is considered to be the #1 motivational leadership and sales coach in the world. His impact is in over 100 countries. And T. Harvaker, he is the topmost coach with respect to in enhancement of financial performance and wealth. So let me start, the 2 stories about in my own life, that how a crisis became an opportunity and changed my life. Uh, in about 1996 or 97, I remember I was in the board of three companies on a health care conglomerate, and I was stationed in Mumbai. Around which time I had more or less decided that I would come and open up my training business and would like to become a trainer, but somehow was not getting the that impetus to actually take that call, take that final decision. Now, what was really stopping me at that point of time was the specter that of uncertainty. What I felt that since till then I had been an employee and I was working with someone. So what really scared me is that in my family there had been no entrepreneurs before me, and I was an aspiring entrepreneur, and no one was really in my family who was prepared to support me in that aspiration. And in my family, everyone believed that if you go to business, it is absolute harakiri. So that's precisely which was stopping me. Now, around such time, what happened is that there was, for a few days, there were some disagreements which cropped up between me and my chairman. And these disagreements continued for some months. And it reached a threshold one afternoon, around which time I said that thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. I don't think I would like to continue. And I resigned from my job. And that was very risky, very dangerous. But to cut a long story short, today, when I look back, I thank God Almighty for that incident. That had this not happened, then probably I would not have become an entrepreneur. I would still continue to have hibernated. So really, what happened is on that day, I lost my job. I broke my security. At the same time, I rediscovered myself, and my organization was born. So in that case, that crisis became my blessing. The second incident was in 1997. Sorry, it was in 2007. I remember there is a place near Calcutta, about 140 kilometers from Calcutta, Haldia. There was an engineering college, and I used to take some classes for their students. And I went in the morning by my car, and I was returning back. Around which time, my car had an accident, and it somersaulted. And I remembered that the very fact that I was alive, that itself was a miracle, because later on I found out at that same spot, a few days earlier, about 3 or 4 people, they died on the spot. And to cut a long story short, in the almost the way that you see the car now, only difference is that this is a picture which has been taken from Google. This is not the actual picture. My car was actually, it toppled. So here that you see the car straight, my car was not in that position. Howsoever, cutting a long story short, almost in the picture that you see here, my car was similarly, or even I think more, intense was the damage. And I, one by one, I remember that I recovered my glasses, my laptop, and I got back to my rationale, and I stood there. I was calm, and I participated in my own rescue. I navigated through the crisis, and subsequently, I called my wife. I called my vice president from my organization, who rushed from Calcutta, and then this car was towed and taken to the nearest police station. And subsequently, I came back I returned home around 2 a.m. in the morning. And prior to that, there was a hospital. When I went there in the emergency to cut it back. To cut a long story short again, I remembered that I did not take a single day's leave. And similarly, I had my schedule, my programs, one after the other, and I attended every single program. So, this was another story which I thought I'd shared today, that how I navigated through my crisis and participated in my own rescue. Now, at the same time, some iconic companies are there who were founded during a recession and flourished. And if you go one by one, this is one company, Pizza Hut, and this is the Pizza Hut founder, Dan Carney. Pizza Hut was again one organization which was founded during a crisis. And this is another, Mr. Fred Smith, the founder of FedEx. Amazing, during a recession, this Mr. Smith, he identified that during the recession, there were documents which needed to be, reached from one destination to other, very important documents. And subsequently, he pounced on that opportunity, and subsequently, this FedEx was born. So again, one of his very famous quotes: "Fear of failure must never be a reason for our inaction." The another company which we all know is extremely famous today, CNN. CNN again was founded amidst a crisis, and this is the great, he's the founder of CNN, Ted Turner. Procter and Gamble. William Procter and James Gamble are the founders, and as we all know that Procter and Gamble is a Fortune 500 multinational and is a household name. And again, Procter and Gamble was again another company which was founded during a recession. Amazingly, in the last century, General Electric was born in a laboratory by the name of Menlo Menlo Research Laboratory, and that was founded by the iconic inventor Thomas Alva Edison. And at that point of time, during that recession, when everyone perceived and interpreted that that was a hopeless situation, Mr. Edison founded this laboratory, and one of his iconic inventions in the year of the laboratory being founded was invented. That was the electric bulb. Interestingly, again, General Motors, the founder, Mr. William Durant. General Motors also was one organization which was founded during a recession, and around which time during the recession, Mr. Durant used to deal with horse-drawn carriages. And during that particular recession, he struck with an idea, and he got the inspiration to embrace technology, and subsequently General Motors were born, and we all know about General Motors. Similarly, IBM, was born it was founded by Thomas Watson and another gentleman, I do not remember the name, who financed the birth of IBM. But again, IBM, one absolutely amazing fact of IBM is that in its very, very illustrious history, IBM has really been toughened by negotiating a lot of turbulence in the business, in their business market, and still managed to hold on and remain one of the IT majors. United Airlines, which is no longer an airline anymore, it is a conglomerate. Again, Walter Verney United Airlines was also one of the iconic companies which was born during a recession. This is the man, everyone adores, the millionaire who made his millions during a recession, Warren Buffett. When everyone, identified that a recession was a hopeless case, this man understood and interpreted that recession is really a time to really make good money, and he, made a lot of his early millions during a recession. And some more companies that thrived during a recession is Microsoft in 1975, Apple in 1975 and 2001. Again, at a time when, as you are aware, if you read the history of Apple, that Steve Jobs had, while he was the founder of Apple there, but again, due to some, disagreements with his partners, he had left Apple for a while, and then again, he made a comeback in 2001. And that was the time when the iconic iPod, if you remember that iPod, the iconic product was born. Again, Apple thrived every single recession in the power of innovation. Netflix was again in 1997 was another organization which was almost going bankrupt, but subsequently, luckily it was saved, and Netflix became again, focused on becoming extremely customer centric, and we all know what Netflix is now. Mailchimp is another organization, and Airbnb, again, is another organization. If you remember, they struck with an idea about providing to their customers, short duration homes. And that was an absolutely awesome idea, absolutely an unprecedented idea. And we all know what Airbnb is. So there are so many organizations who had actually been founded in the crisis. And not only that, there are so many organizations who have really thrived during the crisis. And if we analyze what are the traits that characterize these incredible entrepreneurs, we find the following: that all these people, they were absolute possibility thinkers. So during a crisis, they all felt that something great was possible. I mean, just imagine founding an organization. I mean, at a time, just imagine in amidst its pandemic, when every single day the kind of news that we get is that more and more cases in India are spiking, more and more people are getting infected, more and more people are dying. I mean, imagine a person or an entrepreneur, they are getting that, adventure in their attitude, that adventurism, that come on, let's found an organization. Here, these are some of the areas where we see great opportunities, and let us, be among the first to capture the market. Let's make some good money. Now, how could, when everyone is actually interpreting this time as a hopeless time, a time of cynicism, a time of absolute despair, how is it that, some of these people are actually perceiving this as an opportunity, as a time which is also pregnant with a lot of opportunity? So since they were hugely optimistic, they saw opportunities amidst all the crisis. Another important aspect is the response agility was awesome. That means, the perceiving an opportunity and subsequently pouncing on them in lightning speed. Now, that is something which is very important. And so concept to commissioning, cycle time was very fast. And the other thing was that they directed their focus to find out what were the emerging demands of the customers. So since they could remain positive, since they could remain possibility thinkers, they always continuously focused on the emerging demands of the customers. And, subsequently, because of their customer centricity, they could, they could find out and accordingly respond with new products and new services. So they dared to continuously innovate new products, new services, build an innovation culture. They embraced new technologies. They restructured business processes and existing business models, and they continuously engaged with their customers and created value for them. So these are some of the traits, which if you analyze some of these iconic companies and their founders and these awesome entrepreneurs, what they had demonstrated. So when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, that last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Viktor Frankl, the iconic man who survived a Nazi concentration camp in Auschwitz. And he was there in the concentration camp for over 7 years. And every single day in his solitary confinement cell, he would, walk around the perimeter of his small cell, and with a chalk that he could somehow manage, he would, make lines on the walls of the cell, and to remind himself that how many miles he had walked. And by making those lines, he would inspire himself that one day this solitary confinement is going to end. And when this solitary confinement actually ends, he will be alive, and he will go and share his inspiring story to humanity, and subsequently, inspire them. And this passion, this goal, this mission actually kept him alive. And I would strongly suggest all of you, Man's Search for Meaning is his book, and it's an absolutely inspirational book. If you have not read it, please read it. It must be available in Amazon. And before I come to the main seminar, I would also like to remind all of you about the law of constant change. What does the law of constant change say? That, whether we like it or not, everything in the universe is in the process of changing, and so are you. The whole point is, apparently, you and me, as we all know that we are nothing but pure energy. Every second, every millisecond, there are so many, zillions of, biochemical and electromechanical, transmissions which are happening within our body. So the very fact that at the time, now it is 11:26 by my watch, when you entered the webinar at 11 maybe, at whatever time you entered the webinar, the person that you were, if strictly your body conditions were to be monitored by some very sophisticated monitoring scientific apparatus, we would have seen that you at 11:29 is not the same person. Apparently, we may feel that we are the same person, but we are actually not. So, and the whole point is that whether we like it or not, everything in the universe is in the process of changing, and so are you. You will change whether you want or not, because you cannot and will not remain the same. So, use this to your advantage by recognizing the change and actively participating in it. So, we had recessions and downturns in our economy. We had them even earlier, but to share with you the more recent ones, 1980, 1990, 1998, 2008, and 2020. Now, coming straight to the business, how your business during this economy will fare, during this recession will fare, will depend on your mindset first, is your mindset and your ability to manage emotion. Now, let me share with you. The fear of the pandemic is very real. Many people, I've never seen this before in my 59 years that I've come to this planet, that people actually talking about whether I'm going to survive. Never before I've seen that the fear of death be so real. So at this point of time, a lot of people are under tremendous panic. A lot of people are under tremendous anxiety, tremendous fear. Now, unless your mindset and your ability to manage emotions, you are able to do this, you will never be able to progress in any aspect. So that is the key, the first stage. The second, your ability, how your business fares will depend upon your ability to withstand chaos, change, and uncertainty. Now, let me share with you a little bit about how do you change the mindset. I mean, just let me give you a little orientation. Now, our brain, by manufacturing, is designed as a survival mechanism. The key priorities of the brain are to look after our physical, to ensure our physical, our mental, our financial, and our emotional security. So, our brain is basically designed as a security mechanism. Our brain is not designed as a pro-change mechanism. So, if this is the priorities of the brain, with this external stimulus, external event that is this corona, pandemic, what has happened is that our brain's security system has been threatened. And because the security system has been threatened, what has happened is the neurotransmission in our brain has got disturbed and distorted. And because the neurotransmission has got disturbed and distorted, what happened? The hormonal secretion, they have changed. So what happened is with the hormonal secretions changing, what has happened? The neurotransmission has changed, and because the neurotransmission has changed, hence, as the new behaviors that we are demonstrating because of the altered neurotransmission is that we are demonstrating anxiety, we are demonstrating fear, we are demonstrating panic, we are demonstrating that every time, consequently, we are constantly in negative feelings, negative talkings, negative emotions, and in some cases, we are with people who are actually not very strong in their minds. They demonstrate, hysterical behavior. Some people, they start binge drinking. Some people take to drugs. Some people overeat. Some people oversleep. Some people, hysterically cry. So these are some of the, and some people have suicidal tendencies. Some people go to severe depression, and so on and so forth. So the whole point again is, and why is it happening? It is not happening because of anything else. It is happening because the external situation, the corona pandemic, that is distorting our neurosystem. And because of the distorted neurosystem, we have a different hormonal transmission, and subsequently that is resulting in such kind of demonstrable behaviors. Now, while we demonstrate such kind of behaviors, unless we know how to remain calm, how to manage our mind, how to manage our emotions, the results will be absolutely disastrous. Because in such a state of mind, which I say that activating the Frankenstein mode, named after that iconic, the character in P.B. Shelley's the great writing called Frankenstein. And the Frankenstein, the character, is a key destructor. So in such a state, what I say is that your Frankenstein mode is activated. And the other side, the creative side, the commerce side, I say the Einstein mode. So what you need to do is to ensure that you deactivate the Frankenstein mode and you activate the Einstein mode. When you activate the Einstein mode by doing certain rituals, by doing certain activities, which I teach in my programs, what happens again? The neurotransmission in your brain, that changes. The hormonal secretions, they change. For example, hormones like dopamine, hormones like testosterone, hormones like adrenaline, they start getting secreted. And when they start getting secreted, we start demonstrating positive behavior. We start experiencing optimism. We start, experiencing possibility thinking. We do not experience helplessness. We feel that we are under control. And that is the time when we get back our rationale. And that is the time we are able to take the proper decisions. And that is the time we are able to, actually impact the right kind of results in every single area of our life. So that is the reason why ability to manage emotions, which turn chaos, change, and uncertainty, is so very important. And you need to retrain, you need to learn to retrain your brain, you need to learn to retrain your mind to achieve this. The third is marketing and positioning your product, service, or offerings in ways that resonates with people right now. So you need to, again, customize your messaging towards your customers, and I'll come to that a little later. So adaptability, resilience, determination, and fight. This will, how much you have all of these in you will actually determine how your business fares in the future. Now, I have come to give you a roadmap approach that I have come here to actually share. That to make your business thrive, I would recommend that you implement a certain number of roadmaps in different areas. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk on today. So the first focus that your organization, if you want your organization to thrive, that you need to do is to make a mindset growth plan. So how do you make a mindset growth plan? Every employee must practice meditation. Every employee must practice peak state, priming, and gratitude exercises. Now, these are some of the exercises which I teach in my webinars. How to become, again, for example, practicing meditation. I practice meditation every single day, even today, before I am conducting this program. In the morning, I had practiced meditation for about an hour. So meditation is extremely important today. You're practicing peak state. Peak state is again a particular ritual. If you do that, you condition your nervous system so that, corona or no corona, the point is you will remain fired up. Your energy will be unstoppable. Similarly, priming is also again a firing up exercise, a different ritual, and so is gratitude exercise. In my programs, I teach them in detail, such that if you practice these exercises, you will also demonstrate the similar kind of states. Every employee must undertake motivational training. The key is, at this point of time, most of the employees at whichever levels they're working in any organization, they are shit scared. Many of the employees have already been laid off. Many employees are already, they have received less pay due to pay cuts because the organization didn't earn. Hence, how would they pay? And as a result, they are in a state of, intense demotivation. Now, unless you are able to motivate them, it is very difficult to make them productive. So every employee, must receive motivational training, must record their goal affirmations in their smartphone. This again, I teach when I teach this particular roadmap. Every employee must operate as a motivator to others. How you do that? That also again, I teach in my program. Every employee must practice world-class thinking SOPs. One of my books, which is about to come out this year, at the end of this year. The name of the book is Achieving World Class, and the first chapter deals with world-class thinking. World-class thinking is a similar kind of quality thing, a set of quality SOPs designed for our brain to upgrade and upskill our thinking such that our thinking productivity gets enhanced. Something which I got inspiration from TPM, TQM, WCM, etc. So I teach these thinking SOPs, and so that is it. Every employee must practice this world-class thinking SOPs. Only when you do that, you will remain in a state of complete and perennial and continuous productivity. Every employee must practice. At this point of time, there will be problems galore. At this point of time, problem-solving thinking. How do you become a great problem solver? This is an absolute must. Now, unless we upskill our thinking and upskill our mindset, we will not be able to, kind of operate in such kind of situation. So the focus number one is making a mindset growth plan. Focus number two is about making a financial and cash flow empowerment plan. So, what you need to do at this point of time, every organization must conserve cash. What I suggest is making a simulated profit and loss statement for the next 6 months. And based on the simulated profit and loss statement, you integrate your business plan, similarly make a simulated next 6 months cash flow plan, and identify in detail which are the areas you can cut costs. And while you do this, this has to be absolutely, you need to be a surgeon. You need to sit with your team and you need to be very ruthless in identifying what are the areas that you can cut costs, and you need to do it aggressively. You need to put an outstanding realization plan, and you need to incentivize this process. Every single outstanding of your organization must be realized on an yesterday basis. That has to be your topmost priority. Looking at your profit and loss, you will need to then decide whether you will have to go for pay cuts or layoffs. Now, very clearly, and this is the time when you need to ensure that your people are productive. And that means, you need to change. If you feel that there are people who are not bringing in direct measurable value to the table, you need to take your scalpel and you need to, do surgery. People who are not, delivering at this point of time, you cannot afford to carry passengers. So, you need to motivate them, you need to give them time, and employees around you must also respond to the change scenario. If they don't change scenario, then there will be pressure on your, revenues again to carry them. So, the point is that the ship, that is the organization, that needs to be safe first. If the ship is safe, every other employee, every stakeholder is safe. So, again, looking at your P&L, you will need to decide whether you will have to go for pay cuts or whether you'll have to layoffs, and you need to be unemotional over there. And let me share with you one other perspective of mine. An organization is like a family, and when during good times the employees are taken care of, during hard times the employees must also share that risk and share the agony. Only this is the bonding. It cannot happen that only the risk part will be shared by the entrepreneur or the organization, and the security part will be enjoyed by the employees. It cannot work. So you need to see and scrutinize and examine every single contract, and you need to renegotiate every contract. When I say renegotiating, what I mean, renegotiating commercial terms. So you need to, whatever contract it is, you need to go and have a new meeting, and you need to say that this contract was made at a time pre-lockdown, and hence now we have a very unique situation, and because of this unique situation, the contractual guidelines, terms and conditions has to change, which would mean, the payment terms, the commercial terms and other terms. Try to cut down on fixed cost commitments. Look at outsourcing opportunities and collaborative options. Look at commission based. So this is again, you need to be innovative, you need to be creative. And while you do that, again, there are two ways to do it. You can look outside and you can do insourcing. When I say insourcing, what I mean is that within your organization, you can give outsourcing opportunities. How do you do that? You part of the package, you make fixed for your employees, and part of that or majority of that you make them variable. So you also give the performing employees a chance to earn more than what actually they were actually earning. So these are some of the innovative moves that you need to take. Conserve cash. First priority is to save the organization through lean management. And all luxury, unnecessary spendings must be identified and stopped. So the focus number 2 is make a financial and cash flow empowerment plan. Focus number 3 will be making a safety roadmap. So at this point of time, safety is a very, very important aspect. I think safety at this point of time is probably more important than at any point of time. And the whole problem with safety at this point of time is that suddenly some new SOPs will need to come into play. And at the same time, by making these SOPs, your job doesn't end. Why? Because making the SOPs is one part of it, and making the SOPs will completely fail when the employees or the other stakeholders who are actually supposed to comply with the SOPs, if they don't demonstrate that compliance behavior. So how do you get those SOPs integrated in their behavior? That is the biggest challenge. And just to give you a brief perspective, that how do you build a particular skill into a behavior? The neuroscience approach says that if you identify one behavior and if you practice it uninterrupted for a period of 66 days uninterrupted, only then on the 67th day that new behavior gets instilled in you. So that means here new safety behaviors will have to be undertaken. And so you need to actually have some safety HOD, you need to actually have some task force head, and you need to ensure a very strict compliance with respect to the safety SOPs, such that over a period of time they get integrated in their behavior. Because non-compliance of the safety norm can get 1 or 2 employees infected with COVID, and if that happens, whatever productivity the company was going forward with, the company goes backward, because we all know that if one employee is kind of infected, an entire set and the entire place will remain to be quarantined and all this. So design a clear safety policy for your employees, advisors, and also for your customers. Make someone a safety head who will train every employee on the safety procedures and also ensure compliance management. Non-compliance must be dealt very, very strictly. Regular sanitization of office premises, usage of masks, practicing social distancing at workplace, using a thermal scanner to check temperature during entry and exit, keeping sufficient inventory of masks, sanitizer, etc. is mandatory. Again, if you are at the factory, if you have go down, so I'm not really elaborated on that. In our we have a safety roadmap implementation course, and shortly, very shortly, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we will be launching our new safety webinar. Please watch out for our announcements. The next, I think, a very, very important aspect at this point of time is making an HR and performance management roadmap. Now, this is the time when your employees, see, the market generally is tight. Demand generation is low. The productivity has almost, reached the rock bottom. There is hardly been, any economic activity over the last 3 months. As the liquidity in the market is scarce. People are very skeptical and are not in a mood to change, and not in a mood to spend. Now, in such a case, in such a situation, to remain productive, in such a situation to continuously earn, will need tremendous amount of effort. So the kind of pre-lockdown behavior, the kind of, let me use this word not to hurt anyone, the kind of complacency, the kind of bureaucracy, the kind of chalta hai. Now that's not going to work now. That's absolutely not going to work now. The HR will have to be absolutely ruthless. And the key to it is HR and performance management. What needs to be done? Again, situations have changed. The new normal has come up with in completely new set of characteristics. So every single person's job will need to be restructured at this point of time. Every single person's will need to have restructured key performance indicators. We have launched a new program by the name of Start Afresh. That's a very separate program. And I would encourage all of you to undertake that program, where we have actually, showcased that what are the new skills and what are the new attitudes or behavioral competencies that really need to be built at this point of time. And actually, if you do not build them, you will be, completely obsolete at this point of time. For example, every single person will have to take additional responsibility. For example, now in your environment, you need to have complete seamlessness. So that means that an accounts guy cannot say that I'm only an accounts man, an R&D guy cannot say that I'm only an R&D guy, and all these. So the whole point is that every single person now have to be direct business partners. Everyone will have to sell. New skills will have to be, developed. So in that program, Start Afresh, we have listed that what are the new skills, what are the new behavioral competencies which need to be developed, and how do you develop them. So on joining, office leaders must address all employees, apprise them on the post-COVID new normal, apprise them of the altered characteristics in the market, apprise them that this kind of market characteristics actually kind of require a new set of responses, behavioral, functional, attitudinal, all three, and how do they develop them. So, and how the company needs to behave now, design a new code of conduct. Individual job roles will need to be restructured, made specific, along with designing clear key performance indicators. We can help the companies in this exercise. Every employee must be given a plan with respect to how they shall achieve their KPIs, daily, weekly, and monthly plans. So, if you are listening to me, I think immediately what you need to do, please advise your HR or your senior managers to do a daily monitoring. And that monitoring process will have to be very robust. And your managers who are going to be monitoring, they need to demonstrate intense energy. Back chair, monitoring is not going to do. So every employee must give a plan with respect to how they shall achieve their KPIs. Their daily, weekly, and monthly plans should be submitted on pre-designed formats. Managers must monitor daily performance and give daily feedbacks. On the weekend, a detailed, robust performance analysis must be conducted on a pre-designed format. Clear performance expectation parameters to be made, that under these circumstances, for example, if someone is doing a telecalling exercise, I'm just giving an example. Say, if you are doing 80 calls a day, you are only meeting expectations. If you are doing 90 or anything above 80, you are exceeding expectation. If you are doing below 80, you are below expectations. And if you are doing around 50 or 40, you are far below expectation. So this is very important because the employees also need to, come up. A reward and recognition system needs to be developed. Incentive structures need to be designed. Non-performers or below par performers need to be retrained under coaches, and their performance is to be under surveillance for the next 3 months, and subsequently the organization must take a call that passengers who do not contribute should not be carried. Every month a detailed monthly review meeting needs to be carried out where best performers must be recognized. So again, recognition at this point of time is very important, and a superstar gallery to be created where best performer, the photographs of the best performer, like the way we see in airports, how the CISA personnel, we see their photographs in the form of flexes. I'm actually basically speaking of that kind of a concept. These photographs to be advertised aggressively to motivate high performance. The recruitment process needs to be made robust, credential thoroughly checked, followed by a robust induction program. Employee-specific monthly report cards to be designed to ensure high performance orientation. Detailed training needs assessment to be made. Now, let me tell you, very importantly, I do not agree with many people or many promoters or many entrepreneurs. Many a time when there is such a situation, the first area which gets the X is training. The first area where budget is curtailed is training, and let me tell you unequivocally that is suicidal. You cannot, in such a situation like COVID, you expect that these people, they will automatically come up with this attitudinal development. You expect that, without external training intervention, a person will suddenly become, come up with a bulletproof attitude, will suddenly become a great problem solver, will suddenly become a crisis manager, will suddenly become very good at coordination skills, will suddenly be very response agile, will suddenly be very comfortable with volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It cannot happen. It simply cannot happen. Alongside, I move with this program. You will see I'm going to talk of certain functional capabilities. Again, those functional capabilities, if you do not build in your employees, your business is not going to thrive. Please understand, automatically the performance does not happen. At this point of time, your training is your oxygen. Your training is something which your sanitizer does. Your training will actually invigorate. So do not X your training budget. On the contrary, you should be more aggressive in retraining your employees, and that is how you make your business more robust. So a detailed training needs assessment to be made, followed by designing a detailed training calendar and conducting this training. This needs to be followed by a detailed plan on how the learnings will need to be applied in the workplace. Continuous employee engagement needs to be done. And there has to be a motivating environment altogether. So while we are monitoring performance, we are also constantly engaging with their employees, finding them their temperature, asking them how they are mentally, how their near and dear ones are, and whatever little achievement we have, we celebrate that. While we celebrate, we are also celebrate that ruthlessly. So celebrate to keep employees motivated. A newsletter you could design at this point of time for employees where they contribute. The entire office must have a group photograph of the employees along with them signing an oath document that we shall overcome, that we are there. And this, these are the times which give us an opportunity, and we individually as professionals and collectively as an organization, we are going to come out much stronger than before. These are the kind of environment that you need to, kind of surround and build your environment with. Motivational quotes and photographs must flood the office to keep the environment energized. I think the next important roadmap which I'm going to talk on is making a sales roadmap. The only way at this point of time which we see is kind of generating demand. And how do you generate demand is by selling. So so this is the time. How do you make a sales roadmap? Product knowledge training is an absolute smart. Now let me share with you a very fundamental thing. Many of you, while you're listening to me, you are saying, you may be thinking that, we do such things. What is sir saying so new? Now let me tell you what at this point of time, a new attitude that you need to do is you need to think like a startup. You need to think, even the entrepreneurs must think that, this is the first day I've just founded my business and I have no past. This is the time when you need to take a vow that I have to start from zero, I have to start afresh. Whatever you have done in your past, you need to put that beside. This is not the situation. So, you need to get into the basics, you need to do your fundamentals very strong. And let me share with you why, because I see one of the major reasons for non-productivity, non-performance, and non-sales is lack of product knowledge, lack of domain knowledge, lack of market knowledge, lack of competition knowledge. So product knowledge training and test is to be introduced. Whichever organization, whichever product or service you belong to, I don't care. Features, advantages, and benefits for each product needs to be studied in depth and modified as per the current requirement. Extremely important. Your earlier messaging is not going to work. Now, many of your customers, their priority is purely survival. So you need to be compassionate. You need to first show compassion to your customers. You need to also show them that you are there and both of you will be out together, that you are partnering with your customer. in this particular pandemic. So, and then you need to customize, you need to modify, you need to revise the features, you need to revise, make them more relevant to their situation, their advantages of your products or services and benefits. Product specific sales pitch scripts to be made, stories to be made, and subsequently practice. Sales targets to be immediately made, region-wise, product-wise, and salesperson-wise. Accordingly, monthly, weekly, daily plans to be made and submitted. Report submission is a must. Reports again must be monitored. I am a granular man, and so I don't believe in general talking. So because I am a results coach, hence you will find repetitive granularity in my deliberations. Customer engagement strategy. Never ever before. All these companies, iconic companies, examples of whom I've showed, earlier. All these, one of the major, strategies that they have undertaken is customer engagement, and customer engagement. So customer engagement strategy needs to be finalized through, social media platforms, through WhatsApps, through SMS, through flyers, through mails, through Facebook and LinkedIn messages. You need to. So at this point of time, you need to do two things. One is, you need new skills. If you already have, that's fine. Otherwise, you need to outsource these skills or you need to build this capability within your organization. Video editing, content writing, Photoshop, doing quick flyers. You need good content at that point of time and, changing content, writing good SMS content, updation of your, the website, making flyers, making mails, and you need to go aggressively to the social media. So this is very important at this point of time you need to do, and this has to be integrated. So you need to really put forward a social media strategy of customer engagement. Customer engagement presentation areas need to be identified, and subsequently those presentation PPTs etc. need to be finalized. Periodic customer meets need to be scheduled online for customers in the form of free webinars. Like for example, what we are doing currently is, we are engaging with our customers and wanting to give them value such that, like you remain with them such that, we remain in the top of the mind recall. And we as an organization, we commit and we demonstrate our commitment that we are with you. And hence, this is a way, this is that you get more and more business. So this COVID situation is not going to, it's going to end at some point of time or the other. So periodic customer meets need to be scheduled for customers in the form of free webinars, where one communicates about company's commitment, motivate them, apprise them of various products, and coach them on what are the benefits. Identification of the new value proposition of the company and communicate the same to the customers. Ensure that every member of the sales team undertakes sales training. Extremely, extremely, extremely important. And finally, ensuring all outstandings are realized within the next 30 days. The next roadmap that I'm going to talk of is an innovation and operational excellence roadmap. So again, this is a very, very important aspect, that how do we bring in innovation? How do we bring in operational excellence? As you have seen when I was talking about the earlier, the iconic companies, how they have thrived during a recession. A key attribute which came out is innovation. So, for example, we have a fantastic, product, creating new products and new services, which my good friend, Dr. Sanjeev Datta, he is an expert on. So a very important aspect here is building an innovation culture in your organization. It has to be built in as a culture, and that is an absolute requirement. And to build in that culture, you need to really get the help of an external expert, external agency who would actually help it. And it's something like, it's something like so you give fish to eat on a regular basis, rather than supplying fish on a regular basis. You teach that family fishing. It's something like that. And at this point of time, this is the time when your organization must constantly start innovating, coming up with new products, new services, new offerings, new customer services, new creative pricing. So a lot of places are there where innovation must come in. The second aspect is bringing speed. At this point of time, operational excellence, making operations efficient is very important, which would mean, multi-skilling amongst employees, which would mean, proactive attitude, which would mean high response speed, efficiency, and end-to-end accountability in operations. HODs must sit with their teams and give a detailed briefing of every person's job, role, and management expectations. Customer handling must be 24/7. It must now be managing customer experience. So again, a customer service set of SOPs will need to be made. Our customer service manifesto needs to be designed, because at the end of the day, even if your customers currently are not paying you well, and that's why you're experiencing, that your products are not selling and low revenues, these are the customers who will actually have remained with you in your good days, and these are the customers who will actually also, once the COVID situation is over, they will again remain your partner. So it is now your duty to ensure that you become great partners to them. So handling your customers, engaging with your customers, managing their experience is very, very important. Response speed and interdepartmental coordination must be enhanced. All silos must be completely shattered. All current operations and processes. This is the time, if you do not have written down processes, this is probably the time when you need to go the Toyota way. And for every function, you need to write processes. And this is the time when, crisis is like a crucible. And this is the time when actually we put ourselves in a blast furnace, and just as in a blast furnace, the iron gets completely molten, and in a molten iron, you can then subsequently bring it out with any pattern that you like. So this is the time where we need to change our habits, and we need to be develop a process orientation, and when we make process orientation by writing down processes, by making process manuals, and building the process compliance behavior amongst our employees. And when employees start understanding that what's in it for me part of the process, then the efficiency, the operational efficiency of the organization automatically gets enhanced. So all current operations processes needs to be redefined clearly, rewritten, and a process manual to be made. Digitization wherever you need to make. Now, as you see, like we had been a seminar company about 3 months back. Our physical seminars were in full swing. This COVID has been a great blessing, in a sense that had this lockdown not happened, we would not have been able to come so strongly with respect to this online, training part. So, at times, many crises actually also come to you as a blessing. Like, for example, the COVID has been a great blessing because many of us who had been extremely busy otherwise did not find much time with our family and near and dear one. Here we have got a lot of time to spend with our near and dear one. So, it's again the interpretation, it's again the perspective with which you view a situation. So digitization needs to come in, paperless operation needs to come in, laptop, smartphone, tablet, and app-based operations must come in. A very important aspect is working from home. Now, again, to us, for many who had not been working from home earlier, working from home again is a new change. And so transitioning with the change, that is very important. So how can we, rather than working from home, the point is how can we be effective from home? So, what I believe that all of us will need to write down a clear set of SOPs with respect to working from home. So unless that is done, you will never be able to get, high level of productivity working from home, because there is a tendency that while people are working from home, because of lack of exposure, people will tend to get into the holiday mode and in a non-productive mode. So unless clear guidelines are designed, unless we have a process to build a work from home efficiency in their behaviors, we will not get organization's productivity will not come, operational efficiency will not happen. Consider operating with a good SAP or an ERP module, modify all your processes, make a process manual, learn and implement 5S, create an innovation culture, create new products and new services. Focus number 7 is our capability building roadmap. Extremely important, as I was mentioning, that without, this is the time when you need to build this new capability, the new competencies, the new skills, now which you require to thrive in this new normal. How do you think that without learning this new, in this new normal, automatically those skills, automatically that knowledge, automatically those behaviors will be built? It is not possible. Hence, as I mentioned a little while back, you have to have a capability building roadmap. So some of the areas that you could deal with is again product knowledge training, followed by tests, role plays, etc. Sales training. Every member of the sales team, how to pitch, how to be effective on phone, how to write effective emails, how to be effective on online communications. Extremely important. How to give online presentations, how to actually have impactful online video meetings in Hangout, in Zoom, in other such kind of platforms. SMS and WhatsApp message, how do you handle objections, how to communicate my FABs, how to handle objections, how to communicate my value proposition, how to close, must all be learned in great detail. This will give unprecedented and guaranteed ROI to the organization. Every employee needs to learn the technical know-how. Digital marketing is a very, very important aspect. How to conduct online sessions, training on Excel, training on Photoshop, training on CorelDRAW, training on Google Forms, training on Google Sheets, training on Facebook, training on LinkedIn, training on Instagram. Now, all these are very, very important and new capabilities. Unless these are built, I think, the organizations will not thrive. New behavioral competencies will need to be built as they will be required in the new normal, as I had mentioned some of them a little earlier. New leadership and managerial competencies also will need to be built. Now, earlier managerial and leadership capabilities will not be required. Here coaching and training will need to be built. Functional trainings on HR, enhancing customer experience also needs to be included in your training plan. Now I come to probably the most important aspects. This is the time when a lot of entrepreneurs, who are working all around the globe, they're asking a few questions. Now, the key question that they're asking is, now, we do not really know how long this COVID pandemic is going to last. Now, if such kind of pandemic lasts, and if we have to maintain social distancing for long, and if we have to have controlled, productivity, and if, there is a situation that in case we have to operate with full people force, then, there is a chance of, infection, and that's a greater safety hazard. How do I progress with my productivity? Can I have some technologies? Can I identify some technologies that can guarantee me, substitution of humans through technology? Can I make a list of some pain areas which technology can solve? There are so many areas where, by bringing in and substituting new technologies, I can actually smarten up my operations. I can accelerate my productivity. I can have higher speed and efficiency and predictability and higher quality in my operations. Where can I get those technologies? So all these, on the 23rd, we are coming up with a free webinar on embracing Industry 4.0 to conquer COVID. You must participate in that webinar, where we will in depth, we are going to deal with what are the possibilities each of the technologies that belong to Industry 4.0 they offer us. Let us see what are the possibilities which Internet of Things offer us. What are the various industry sectors? Which are the various applications? What about machine learning? What about deep learning? What are some of the areas where we can see that cyber security, like for example, and now that we are working online, cybersecurity is so very important. If we do not make our these processes robust, there is a chance that we may have our systems hacked. Only a few days back, a leading IT company, one of my friends is a senior director, he was telling me that suddenly, they had, in spite of they being a senior, a very, 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 top line IT company, IT multinational with global operations, they had a very, very worrisome, a worst hacking attack, where there was a huge risk of losing multi-million-dollar contracts. So this is a real, possibility. Which are some of the areas where I can bring in artificial intelligence? Where can I bring in blockchain technology? Can augmented reality, 3D printing, data analytics, so very important. Data science offers us so many possibilities. So training on industry 4.0 topics is very, 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 very important. Unless I have a proper sensitization, and know the possibilities each of the these technologies actually offer me, I will not develop that common sense which will help me to take the decisions. So again, so this is a very, very important aspect. So hence, without capability building, performance will not be automatic. Making a detailed year-long training calendar and implementation of that same is a must. And exactly what I was coming to, the focus number 8 is having a technology growth map. So being sensitized thoroughly with the opportunities that are offered by Industry 4.0. So you need to ask yourself some key questions. What are some of my key problems and pain areas? Which technology can offer me their solutions? By embracing these technologies, how much shall my operational efficiency increase? In which areas will they increase? How much cost savings shall I obtain? How much will my operative profits increase? What can be some opportunities lying for me in the market that I can grab with the help of these technologies? Can this technology integration help me in substitution of additional manpower and help me become a leaner organization? How can these technologies help in my decision-making accuracy? Can these technologies help me improve my sales and better understand my customer needs? Can I make a technology implementation roadmap? Can I take the help of an external consultant to help me make this technology blueprint? It's very important. And in my seminar I teach, let me share with you that how can you there's a concept which neuroscientists have come up with, and that concept is known as neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is a concept which says that our brain can change, our intelligence can enhance. So the fact that after a certain age that intelligence and brain growth stops, that's a misnomer. So the latest neurosurgeons, they have actually spoken of that neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity can happen at any age, and one of the key levers of actually enhancing your intelligence is the art of consistently asking the right questions. Mark my words. The ask of consistently asking the right question. So that means if you can develop the habit of consistently asking the right questions, better quality questions, you will always get the right answers. So that means if you ask the wrong questions, you will always get the wrong answers. If you ask the right questions, if you ask higher quality questions, you will always have higher quality answers. So the focus number 8 will be your technology growth map. And the last focus is your making a profitability enhancement roadmap. So how do I enhance my overall profitability? So companies must increase payments, a very important aspect to salespersons. This is the time when salespersons need recognition, recruit, the best, give them the best training, give them best incentive, recognize and motivate them, choose a training partner. Compensation structure post-COVID must be performance-based. A part of the pay package, senior to junior, must be made variable. Senior to junior, mark my words. What I would like to offer you, that we have spoken of 9 key roadmaps. So what I would appreciate on the participants, that kindly indicate in the chat box right away that I need support in the following areas. Please mention your name, your organization name and email area and email and phone number, and please mention your the support that you need in a particular area. It may be one, it may be multiple, and it may be all. So I give you about 2-3 minutes time to decide that would you need support in developing the mindset of your team? Would you need support in enhancing financial management of your organization? Would you need the implementation of the enhancing operational and innovation efficiency in your organization? Would you need support in the area of sales and marketing? Would you need support in the area of enhancing HR skills and performance management? Would you need support with respect to overall enhancement of your profitability? Would you need support in helping you design, building your capability infrastructure? Would you need support in helping your leadership, managerial effectiveness and team building aspect? Or would you need support in building your technology fitness in a roadmap? So I give you about a couple of minutes time. Kindly mention which is the specific area that you need support in the chat box. And after this, I will take questions. And subsequently, please mention that if you wish to have a focused one-on-one meeting with us, so please indicate your preferred date and time in the chat box, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. So our representative will get in touch with you and we'll have a hangout meeting. And if it's possible, I will personally also be there to help you out, to know your, pain areas, each area where you need your support. And subsequently, we are going to design a transformation roadmap implementation plan. So I would suggest to make most value out of this particular webinar. You get only value when you apply the learnings in your own workplace. So the first thing that I would want you to do is identify which area you need support, and the second is on which day you would like us to meet. Kindly take a couple of minutes to write down in the chat box. Implementing the mindset growth roadmap, we generally kind of complete this in 2 sessions, 4 hours, each session of 2 hours. Implementing the new behavioral skill growth roadmap is again 2 sessions and 4 hours. Implementing a new HR and performance management growth map is again 2 sessions and 4 hours. The financial and cash flow improvement roadmap is again 2 sessions and 4 hours. Sales and marketing performance improvement roadmap, 2 sessions, 4 hours. Your technology growth roadmap, 2 sessions and 4 hours. Your innovation and operational efficiency roadmap implementation, 2 sessions, 4 hours. And implementing your leadership and managerial skill growth map, 2 sessions, 4 hours. So depending again on your requirement, all our courses are customized completely to your requirements. And again, we are a results training company, so we guarantee you results. So courses are, so we, before, what course is suitable, how much of time will you be requiring, that we decide is after we have a one-on-one discussion with you. So all courses are results driven to maximize your ROI. And so one part is about the knowledge part, the other part, it's more about the implementation part. So we are more of a results part. So now, quickly, and then subsequently, our forthcoming free webinars that are coming up next Sunday on the same time, developing COVID-proof employability. And again, on the 23rd June, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., embracing industry 4.0 to conquer COVID. So I would want all of you to spread this message and join these webinars and get the maximum out of it. So now I am through with my presentation. I would, so I would like to now take questions.
Show me
Yes,
intro. This is Sudeep here. Can I ask you something?
please. How are you, Mr. Mane? Yes, just a second. Leadership, Praveen, Mr. Singla, leadership and motivational skill to lead the team. That is an area. So if you could kindly give your contact details. So would Mr. Lalwani and Mr. Amit Banerjee. If you could also give your details. Mr. Mane, I have your, and Sanjeev Sethi, thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Kuldeep, please. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Hello? Hello? Yeah. I would, want to have some responses.
Well, this is Sudeep here.
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
I
please,
come?
please, Sudeep.
Okay.
Yes,
I have a small short story to tell you.
please.
The thing is this, I have been under severe stresses and strains
Yeah.
through this odd period for quite
Yes.
some time.
Okay.
I was wondering that whether I should go to a psychologist for a counseling
Mm.
or to some other help where
Mm.
I can recover
Mm.
my lost motives
Mm.
and strengths of finding out a new way.
Excellent question, Sudeep.
It's
Again,
actually,
yeah.
let me tell you. In fact, I am telling it is I, but
Yeah.
I have come across a friend. I want to keep his name as secret.
Mm.
The
Mm.
thing is this: he
Mm.
came back to me after
Mm.
some days and told psychologists have only traditional and conventional way of treating. They
Absolutely.
immediately consider you as a patient. They don't
Yes.
give you real relaxations as could be useful in terms of reviving and running an enterprise.
Absolutely.
So I was about to suggest that you join up clinics with Professor Soumitra Chatterjee, have a detailed time plan with him,
Yes.
go and resolve your issues one-on-one with topmost secrecy and security. And believe me, it will not be a psychological session. You are not a patient. You are not lacking anything. Only you are to resolve your way out. Am I right in telling so? Can I
You are.
recommend my friend to you?
You must recommend this friend, and you are absolutely on the money, Sudeep, and you are spot on. Let me share with you, with no disrespect meant. The point is, our mindset growth plan is completely based on
Yeah.
the latest
Yeah.
neuroscientific evidence-based technology. That's why I have mentioned mindset growth plan. Now, the whole point again, as I had mentioned a little while back, that there is something which happens in our, in our brain, and as a result, I'm just cutting a long story short to respond to your question. And there is a certain set of hormonal secretion which trigger a particular set of behaviors, and subsequently we distort our rationality, and subsequently because of this distorted rationality we take wrong decisions, and then we get painful results, destructive results in every single area in our life, and subsequently our future gets screwed up. Now, the whole point is, so what do we need to do? You need to identify, as I mentioned, that I like to talk about this as the Frankenstein mode of the brain. You need to you need to do some rituals, and you need to again, as I mentioned, the neuro behavior needs to be changed. So how do you change the neuro behavior? You change the neuro behavior by doing some activities, which I like to call them inner sizes. As we do exercises, physically, I am suggesting, I'm telling them inner sizes you do internally. Say, for example, when you do a meditation, there is something which happens in your nervous system, and there is something which happens in your neurochemistry, which gives you that calm, which gives you that peace of mind, and which gives you that sense of unshakability, and hence you are able to remain resolved, resilient, and you can carry out your normal activities. You can sustain your rationale, and you can be tremendously productive. Now, a meditation is one. affirmations. How do you change your self-talk? How do you change your life story? Being into a peak state. My mentor, Tony Robbins, I last September, every year I go to go abroad to take his courses, and I learned, my God, this is an awesome technique. How do you condition your nervous system such that, now if you see, just to give you an example, because whatever I teach, I am first the 100% user of that. I am 100% demonstrator of that. If you feel, all the participants who are attending this webinar, that I have some energy, the reason I have that energy because is that before the seminar, I have conditioned my subconscious mind. I have put myself in a peak state, and hence I am on an autopilot. And so exactly these are the inner sizes which we teach. And subsequently then with the power of affirmations, we teach them success visualization. We teach them an exercise process which is known as priming and goal setting, and that is how, as you mentioned very rightly, he finds out new motives, and that is helping to find out new motives is what is motivational. Now, the whole point is motivational. The word motivational comes in very appropriately, as you mentioned, is when you restructure the mindset of a person, maybe in this case a suffering, and help him deactivate the Frankenstein mode and reactivate the Einstein mode, that in that particular state, he rediscovers his motives, he makes some new motives, and that is how the intervention becomes motivational. So, yes, you can certainly ask the gentleman to come and undertake my course and clinic. And we guarantee results. The whole point when I say guarantee results, what is the guarantee all about? We are not selling any product like, a biscuit or a cement or a shampoo or a cold drink. We are selling processes and rituals. So that means I would suggest and teach them certain exercises which they will need to practice it on a daily basis at a certain time. And when they do it, as I mentioned, the neuroscientific evidence that if you do it for 66 days or 90 days at a stretch, that comes and becomes a part of your behavior. And that's not only for the mindset growth, that's for any process. So this is the approach, which we take in every single roadmap that I've discussed over here. Be it a kind of developing a technology habit, be it developing a new process to enhance the operational efficiency, be it with respect to a particular behavioral capability, like for example, becoming a problem solver or a crisis manager, or for example, becoming a better salesperson with enhanced sales skills. So the same process is actually used to build that as a behavior, and when you build that as a behavior, results are automatic. So this is the process. So thank you very much, Sudeep, for coming up with your this particular thank you very much. Yes. So anyone else? Yeah, Mr. Agarwal, I think you are sharing something. You are muted. Can you unmute yourself? You want to say something? I can see that your lips are moving. You need to just go down to the bottom of the screen and take. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Mani, I think you wanted to say something. Yeah. Let us have some share. Yeah. You. Yes, Mr. Agarwal, please.
Yes, you have very intelligently covered almost all the aspects while to retain the business aspects. Really, most of the questions have already been answered in your representation. What precisely is our problem? The skilled labor which we were employing previously had gone to UP and Bihar, and they are not coming from there. And we are having fears that we may not lose our customers because of this skilled labor not coming. Unskilled labor we are getting, no problem. But some of the skilled laborers have gone to UP, Bihar and all that. They are not coming back.
Correct. So I think, sir, I think this is a very unique problem. I cannot really give you an answer, but just to give you one answer, By the way, Mr. Agarwal, which organization you represent, sir?
I'm Vice President of Haryana Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Haryana Chamber of Commerce and Industries. So I would like to share that one is that two three things that you can do. One is that you need to you need to make a competency development blueprint, and you need to identify different set of employees who you feel their potential, and we could help you out with respect to helping build that particular capability through a regimented training over a period of time, which is monitored. And so at the end of that incubation period, you see that skill being built. So that is one. Second is, what you could do is you could identify some of the areas where you could that whether some of the areas where you feel there is a danger of losing customers, could you substitute those areas with emerging technology? So that is a key question. Maybe since I do not know those, what we can do is that we can enter into a after this particular program sometime next week, a one-on-one conversation where we could exactly specifically know that what are the specific issues, and then accordingly probably we can design a technology growth map. So that is the number two that you could do. And number three is online. Some of the persons who have actually gone to you on an online, some of the people who have actually, some of the people who have gone to UP, and you fear they may not be returning. For them, what you could do is you could have a online arrangement. Probably, even if they don't return, that may not be a possibility that they have completely got lost. So there could be another area that how can we make them functional, productive in an online platform. So that will again look into an innovative, disruptive intervention, which the clarity of which can come in while we have a one-on-one discussion post this particular program.
Meanwhile, we have developed some job work facilities outside. So we have, for the time being, some job work facilities we have found out from outside sources. That's how we are pulling on one time. But your suggestions have been taken right in the right earnest manner. Thank you.
Yes. Most welcome.
I have one point here in the same context. Already the reverse migration has started, and we have to devise a system by which we can motivate those workers who have gone back to, say, UP or Bihar at that particular time, and give them some incentive to come back.
So just to share with you, just a second.
Shobito, may I say something?
Yeah, just 1 second. So, Mr. Agarwal, just to share with you, I mean, I can tell you through my experience of the last 20 years that please do not feel that with respect to the migrant labor, the people who have gone back to the UP, do not feel they have been lost. So the minimum that can be done is to create a platform of dialogue, and we can design a dialogue, and that, as Mr. Banerjee had suggested a little while back, that dialogue could be made curated and very motivational, and they could be persuaded, and absolutely that is possible. Plus, so I am very, we have may not be in an online way, because this pandemic has been an unprecedented situation. However, similar kind of situations I personally handled as a consultant in my last 20 years. So yes, it is possible. Yes, Gunjan, you want to share something?
Mr. Agarwal, just wanted to know from you, what is the business that you're running? What does it produce? Or you're talking generally for the Haryana Chamber of Commerce?
Manufacturing of industrial fasteners for transmission towers and steel forgings.
Okay. So what I'm saying, this is a great opportunity, because previously Haryana was depending on UP and other states. So why not people from Haryana get a chance right now? Because it was because of the historical legacy that we have been importing migrant laborers from Bihar and UP mostly. Even in West Bengal we do it.
But this is a chance when these laborers are returned back, even the laborers of West Bengal who are working outside have returned back to their own state. Now there is a high chance that the labor of that own state is going to work for that state. That way,
No.
they don't have to migrate to other place. This is one.
No,
Secondly,
okay. I think 1 minute. I think this discussion actually I think will be more appropriate if we have it on a one-on-one basis. So I
okay,
believe
we can discuss.
yes,
And we
when
can
we
know what I was about to tell you. The other thing is we can also suggest you a lot of ideas with respect to these emerging technologies, where
Right.
you can reduce your manpower also,
Okay.
where you can
So
reduce your manpower, and also you're not dependent on the skill part of it, because the modern world-class manufacturing says there's nothing called skill. You should de-skill everything and leave it to technology. So
Right.
that's what I was about to prescribe.
so I
On
think
that we can have a discussion.
yeah, I think good idea would be Mr. Agarwal.
Right.
I mean, on a specified discussion mode, we can actually first find out that what are the areas, and subsequently we can propose you a certain set of solutions. But yes,
Right.
to sum up, I think all the problems that you have mentioned are absolutely solvable. So let me give you more.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And one more thing, as you've understood, that I have upfront mentioned that we guarantee results.
Right.
No other training company, including the top five,
Very
just to
good.
give me some satisfaction, including the top five, they will be upfront, because the moment I say that we guarantee results, me and my organization, we are putting them in the line. So there's a huge risk. So I'm prepared to take that risk because we have evidence behind. But yes, thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you, sir. Thank you very much for coming up with your issues.
Thank you, Radha. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Proshenjit, and thank you, Mr. Banerjee, for sharing. Yes, thank you. Mr. Singla, Mr. Kuldeep Mane, if you could share something. Mr. Singla, yeah, Mr. Kuldeep Mane. Amit Banerjee, yeah. You need to unmute yourself, sir. Mr. Kuldeep Mane, Mr. Singla, if you could please unmute yourself and share something. Mr. Sanjeev Sethi, if you could share something, sir. Mr. Sethi, why don't you, Mr. Agarwal, I have a
Yes.
proposal. Why don't you, organize a program for the Haryana Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, we will do it in Haryana Chamber of Commerce. Yes, we will do it. Make a program. In the meantime, it is an opportunity also, because as Mr. Prasenjit Goa rightly pointed out, that we are now engaging some Haryana labor also from Haryana, and we are
Yeah.
training them for hot forging. Actually,
Yes.
hot work is done by the Bihari and UP persons. So the
Huh.
Haryana people are now, we are training those persons for this hot forging work. Cold forging they are doing very well, but hot work, for hot work, these Bihar people and UP people, they are well experienced and skilled person. But it's an opportunity.
Hello.
And we have employed some person, and they are now trained to do it. No
Yeah.
problem. No.
Yeah.
And job work also we are getting from Ludhiana and from nearby places. So it has rather given us more opportunities to do some other alternatives.
Hello. Yes, Mr. Sethi. Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. Yes, Mr. Sethi. And then I'll hear Mr. Banerjee. Yes, Mr. Sethi. Yeah, please carry on. Mr. Sethi, we could. Yeah. Mr. Banerjee, if you meanwhile you wanted to say something, if you can unmute yourself. Yeah. Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Banerjee. Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Thank you, first of all, very much to taking such a beautiful session, which is really forced us to think in a different way in this COVID-19 crisis.
Thank you.
Sir, if you look at my background, I am from a pharma. I have a total experience of
Which
24 years.
which organization do you belong to?
I was working in Bayer earlier.
Ah, yeah, Racha, okay. And currently
Okay.
you're working currently?
Now, actually, because of the crisis, all the company was thinking of a cost cutting. They have abolished my post, which I was settled in Chandigarh.
Acha,
The
acha,
headquarters was in Chandigarh, so they have abolished this post over here.
acha,
So
acha.
now, for the month of January, I was thinking of started my own business in pharma
Mm.
only, the sales and marketing.
Mm.
Now, because of COVID-19, the crisis which comes
Mm.
as just now the working style has entirely changed. Like
Mm.
earlier, what we used to work to meet a doctors and create a demand in the market, which I think it's becoming very difficult nowadays because doctors are also in a back foot. By not meeting a company's person, those who are promoting their products. So it's very difficult to create a demand in the market.
Mm.
So I want to know on your strategy, what methods should we adopt so that we can reach to our customers and create a demand.
I think the first thing that you need to do is the first thing that you need to do is to uh, uh, organize organize a webinar which becomes actually a customer engagement initiative. And what we could do is that again on a one-on-one meeting, we could discuss the scope, we could discuss the objectives that you want to and I could guide you better. So yes, I
Okay.
think the first way would be this. So I think what we could do is that we can schedule a little discussion post this program on a pre-allotted time, and then we can actually find out, and we'll be able to actually give you a suggestion on this on the roadmap.
Okay, no issue.
Can I say one sentence on this?
Please, Mr. Banerjee. Yes.
Look, in this COVID situation, there are many pharma industries who are thriving. As a matter of fact, people who other industry like Mr. Agarwal's industry is different, but pharma industry is thriving. Every day I get mails and presentation on various hand sanitizer, paracetamol, product of paracetamol, and so on and so forth. So
Okay.
we can, first thing we should know who are my customers are, and then as suggested by Mr. Chatterjee, we can detect their need, and based on that we can do our business plan.
And Mr. Banerjee will be very happy that when I used to work and I was yet to become an entrepreneur, I was the marketing manager with Johnson and Johnson, and I was the general manager with the Torrent Group.
Yes, sir. I know. I have gone through your background, and I know that your background is for pharma only.
Yes, yes. So I'll be able to. I think we'll be able to help you out. Sure.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Nice talking to you. Yes, Mr. Sanjeev.
Yeah.
Mr. Sethi.
Well, let me tell you that it has been an extremely good session. And,
Thank you so much.
And when you promise people that you are granting them result and return on investment, I'm 100% sure with you that you will do it.
Thank you so much.
Because for one reason, I am seeing that I'm the same age as you. I was 59 years old.
Okay.
So, and I'm seeing that you have taken off the entire thing in a very proper sequence, starting from the mind to the planning stages and to the implementation and monitoring.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
these things which are absolutely required to be done, and you've taken it beyond, even to the level of digitalization and industry 4.0.
Yes.
Technically speaking, to make things a success, this is all very much required, and they are all to be done.
Right.
The only thing which needs to be convinced is that you have to convince the top company to go along with you, and once they take this decision to go along with you on this roadmap, success is sure. There's no decision.
Very, Mr. Sethi, which organization do you represent?
I have a company, Gariahat Electronics, in Mohali. So we make components,
Okay.
and in fact, even before the COVID came, auto industry was not really up to the mark.
Okay.
But when
And
the COVID,
and
but when
what is your total manpower strength?
our total manpower is 378 people.
So give us an opportunity to work with your organization.
I'll just share with you little things about your 9 points
Yeah.
and some things that people failed and how we worked out. To start even from day one, we were never negative about it. We were Frankston about it. We were very positive that COVID is going to be a very good thing for us. We're going to revive things from. Second was thought process that we are going to start thinking from zero level and take it forward from there.
Excellent.
Third point was cash control, which we immediately started monitoring from day one. We are ensuring that we get payments from our customers, and we also ensure payment to suppliers and employees.
Hmm.
Then motivation of employees. We immediately had a level person who was interacting with all 378 employees on a daily basis through Facebook. Every day there was a 15-20 minutes session, which is known as Bolte Alfaz, and she would give motivational and inspirational lecture to them every day. Every day,
Excellent.
people, at least 320 of them would be online listening along with their families. So this was one thing which maintained them as conscious for them and with them always, and not even one of them is migrated from Punjab. They're all here with us.
But
Even
Yeah.
even at that time, we created a session of online training. On our portal, we have created training programs, about 20 programs we created online and made people go
Excellent.
through those. And then we have online tests online every week to get them, keep them updated and thinking.
But
All the things like SOPs were already in place. We made a lot of SOPs. We made videos. We made presentations. How to open up the factory. We're sharing it with the industries. So I
very
think we have
nice.
very well. We created a HOD champion to interact with employees during this entire period. And I think even sales marketing,
Wow.
like you mentioned, started fresh. We last
Uh.
1 week, 10 days, we are having same lectures. All the same whole sales team, they are going through same thing like product knowledge, customer knowledge. We saying know your customer, know your strength. Going through those sessions these days,
Excellent.
and we have been interacting with the
have you
customer.
and have you also made target for them?
Yes, targets are there. We have created new teams.
Targets.
We have created
Two areas. I'm sure. I mean, you are so positive. Firstly,
Yeah.
let me compliment you that on
Mm.
almost every other day we have some webinar. You are extremely bright. The way you commented, absolutely demonstrate your very positive and very bright attitude. And we have no doubt that you and your organization is going to do wonders. So this is a very sincere compliment to you. Now, two things which I just wanted to share. One is the restructuring of the KPIs of the organization, and the second is the actual making of the sales targets. These could be two very important areas.
Yes, I guess yes.
So I'm sure you have done those.
No, we have done that, and we also, we moved on to innovation front. Like we've done innovation. Like immediately, we have innovated new product. We have healthcare. We are devising a new product for healthcare, which is under development, and we in a period of just 6 weeks, and it will be in the market another time. We also get 5 from companies like Acma and CI, and we are already Industry 4.0 compliant company.
Wow, excellent. Very, very nice speaking to you, meeting you, Mr. Sethi. And wish you all the very best.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. It was lovely having a program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Singla, Mr. Parveen Chandra Singla, if we could hear from you. And Mr. Harendra Prasad. I would also like to take the opportunity to also congratulate Tarun Banerjee. Mr. Banerjee, your efforts have been very good, and we had a successful program. I sincerely laud your efforts.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, Sumitra. Hi.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Hi, this is Harinder. Yeah. So I also would like to congratulate for your wonderful session, and I'm really very privileged and very fortunate to be part of it. Uh,
Thank you.
I have around 28 years plus experience and
Yes.
in the financial industry. Very
Okay.
fortunate to be part of the growth story of ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Yes Bank, and
Bah.
then I was my last assignment was 6 years with as a country head with the Western Union, biggest principal agent, Paul Merchants Limited, uh,
Mm,
managing a wide
mm,
business. So
mm.
just prior to this COVID, about 6 months prior to that, I ventured into the entrepreneurial role,
Okay.
and I've just started my company of called AH Ventures, where I give investment banking consultancy. I do some education fee funding, structured products,
Mm.
and the like. So very encouraging. I have myself been a trainer, motivator in these banks, and very happy to hear you and your very energetic and vibrant, I would say, personality and sessions. So my heartiest congratulations to you in such challenging times and in such I would say depressing times to hear a person like you to be instilling energy and positivity all around. So I will talk to you one on one how we can synergize, probably
Sure.
because I'm also associated with International Chamber of Service Industry, where
Okay.
so they are taking a lot of initiatives across various industries, and so as of now, I would just like to congratulate you. And as I said, I'm just starting my new venture, but probably I don't know it's the right time or the wrong time. But having gone through your session, I think the positivity comes that probably in you have some good things coming out of distress also. So I think in these challenging times, as you have shared a lot of big names, so it gives a lot of motivation to me that probably it's not the wrong time, probably it's the right time to
Absolutely. This
start.
this
Yes,
is
yes.
this is this is a rocking time. And
Yep.
by
Right.
venturing, you also join the gallery of the icons,
Right.
and
Right,
you
right.
create a scope where you become an icon. And I have
Oh,
no doubt that in a period of time, you will also grow into one of the greatest icons.
well, thank you very
Very
much
good.
for
Very good.
these
And
inspirational.
I most sincerely tell this to you, Mr. Harinder.
Yeah, thank you very
Right.
much. I really, it's very thankful to be again being part then of this beautiful session that you've done. So once
Thank
again,
you.
heartiest congratulations to you. And I would
Thank you.
like to remain associated with you and charged up,
Please.
and it will be a great privilege to be associated with you.
Absolutely. It is a privilege is absolute mutual. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so we have who else has not yet shared? Uh, Mr. Mane had left, is it? Okay.
Mr. Alaka Chaudhary.
Mr.
Alaka Chaudhary. Alaka Chaudhary.
Miss Alaka Chaudhary. Miss Alaka Chaudhary, would you like to share something? How do you like the program?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
It was awesome program.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Awesome program. In fact, my
Thank you.
mother-in-law also was listening to the program, and she was just telling me like how this much energy that we can get.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Banerjee, Tarun Banerjee, if you would like to share something.
Uh, Congratulations to you and many thanks for all the participants who have joined, and we have shared lot many things and your expertise, your knowledge and vast experience which you have shared. I'm sure that all the participants will be benefited and they will take a oath today for their commitment, implementation and all type of affirmations. I'm sure that all of them have had good times and all the points which you have told will be implemented by all of us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes. Sure. Sure.
So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And I wish all of you an absolutely rocking, awesome future. And to sum up, please remember that we have our next Sunday coming up with another free webinar, followed by the fascinating session on the Industry 4.0. We have not yet formally announced the date, but we are also coming up with a program on safety, a program on supply chain excellence, and
Right.
a program specifically on the insurance sector, that how to revive the insurance sector. That's a very insurance sector specific, and also infrastructure sector. So we will let you know. And so thank you again. And my deepest and profoundest gratitude for spending this Sunday with all of us. And with this, I take your leave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.